What's good, everybody? It's Tuesday night. It is time for Flyers Talk A2D. So with the rookie camps coming up this weekend, we got the rookie series between the Flyers and I almost said Phillies because the Phillies are on. Between the Flyers and the Rangers coming up this weekend. Let's have a little bit of fun. Jett Luchanko, freshly 18. Does he have a legit shot to make the roster? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about something we missed last week. We are going to discuss the Leon Draisaitl contract extension, the 8-year, $14 million contract extension. Exactly. What does that mean for Draisaitl? What does that mean, more importantly, for McDavid? And how does both of those affect the Edmonton Oilers moving forward? We're going to talk about that, so much more. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn on those notifications, Facebook and X, retweet, share. Let's get it out there. It's time to talk some off-season hockey. We're getting close to training camp. Let's go. Time to talk some puck.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of Flyers Talk A2D here on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Sitsuti along with the Dark Wing, Brian Daly.
What's up?
And Mr. Blue Shirt, Mr. Broadway, Mr. Switzerland, Big Bad Brad Ryer. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition here of Flyers Talk A2D, brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. The doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. If you got any aches and pains that are bothering you, just not letting it go, just keeping that sting going, go see the doc and his team. Visit www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Head either to Burlington or Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Exceptional staff on both, and they will make sure that you are as good as new, like you never had pains to begin with. And so, our poll question for today is, Jett Luchanko has a legit chance to make the roster out of training camp. Agree or disagree?
Did I mess? I think I messed that up in the show criteria. Whoops. This is what happens when you do your show criteria like 10:30 at night. It's terrible.
It's okay, man. Anyway, so, yeah, we will be talking about Jett Luchanko and his possibility of making the roster out of training camp here. And it is kind of possible at the end of the day. Or is it? I don't know. I'm going to say first, I will say that he does have a chance. Is it the biggest chance of them all? Maybe not. Maybe not like the biggest opportunity, like say say a Michkov. I mean, technically, I'm just going to throw him out there. Michkov should be a shoo-in to be on the starting opening day roster.
Oh, yeah.
You think?
But, yeah. Listen, I'm only throwing it out there as should be because you never know, especially in this new day and age in hockey. Nothing is guaranteed. But with Luchanko, it's kind of like, I said before he was a project when they drafted him. I still believe that. Could he still make the roster? I'd say that he has a shot only because of the fact that there is a lot of youth in the organization and there's a lot of spots that are, not necessarily guaranteed. But even so, I would say that the chance of him making it is still pretty low. Not because of a lack of ability. It's just he's very young, fresh into the organization. It's a big transition for him going into his first camp with the Flyers. It's a big one for him. So there's a shot, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a shoo-in. by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, I'm going to agree to the poll. I think he does have a legit shot. Listen, when he was drafted, I'm on the record for saying that it's a bit of a stretch pick. How much of a stretch do we actually think this is? There's a lot of hype starting to become with this kid. A lot of positive talks about his playing ability, his vision, how he's developing quickly already. He's 18 years old now. Yeah, I didn't realize his birthday was as quick as it was, so I definitely think he has a shot now that he's 18. I think this rookie series coming up this weekend is going to tell us really a lot of where he is in his development. But I do think he definitely has a chance. But here's the good thing. So he has signed his ELC. More than likely, he's going back to juniors after camp anyway if he gets cut early. Give him 10 games, and then if he doesn't really wow you in that span, send him back to juniors. That's not going to affect his contract at all. Two, it gives him his feet. It gets his feet wet at the NHL level, so he knows what he has to work on a little bit to get back there. If anything, it could motivate him even more. Be like, hey, I was there already. Now I just got to bust my ass to get back. So I love it. I think he has a legit shot to make the roster out of camp. Now, the question I should ask is, can he sustain that? Can he have that consistency to maintain his place on the pro roster? And in that 10-game span, I think we're really gonna see where he is. But I think right now, give the kid a chance. You're expecting to take a step back with the organization this year. You're not expecting yourselves to be as good. Why not? Take a chance on the kid, see what happens. Worst case scenario, like I said, you send him back to juniors in 9 games. 10 games.
I mean,
however many you feel like he needs.
Well, on a scale that I don't think is, I guess, with expectations, but I don't know if like first round pick expectations. But a good example would be Bobby Brink. Brink kind of came out of nowhere in his camp, and it's just like, okay, might as well keep the kid up here if he's going to light the lamp up. And he did when he first showed up. And then they sent him back down, although to the Phantoms. So it's not exactly the same as Luchanko's situation. Yeah. But he did come back up, Brink did. So he was up back on the roster, I think midway through the year. He got back up on there. I know he had I think he had an injury too at one point, which kept him off. But still, the point being is that Brink kind of came out of nowhere and was like, okay, might as well roll with the kid, see what he can do. Yeah. And it may be the situation here with Jett. Possibility.
And that's the thing. Like you can get a taste of Jett without burning a year of his contract. That's the beauty of the situation. You send him to juniors right away and see how he's playing. You're just like, oh, I want to bring him up. You can't. Once he's in juniors, he's in juniors.
Right.
He's there for the year. So take the advantage. You have 9 or 10 games that you can play with him before he has to go. Before you have to make a decision that he has to go back. If he doesn't wow you, send him back. If he wows you, I don't know, maybe send him back anyway. But where's it going to hurt? I don't think it's going to. I think if anything, it's going to benefit Jett Luchanko.
Oh, well, any NHL experience would help him.
Exactly. It's motivation. It's motivation, Maddie.
Guys, let me ask you a question.
Let's go.
Let me ask you a question. Okay? You really want an 18-year-old kid up that quickly? I think it would be a mistake to have him up right away. I think you want him to go down there and play, be a first-line player, get lots of minutes, and improve his game, and be ready for the National Hockey League. I don't think he's going to be a National Hockey League player yet. And to do that, how many minutes are you going to give him? What, 5 to 10?
Probably wouldn't be a lot.
Yeah. Do you really want to do that to an 18-year-old kid? Wouldn't you rather him play and improve his game and play 20 minutes and play in all types of situations?
If it's an evaluation period, they're going to give him as many minutes as they can. They're going to put him in every situation that they can.
I mean, also, if it's only the 10 games, I mean, it's 10 games. So it's not like he's going to be up there for, 30, 40. Like he ain't pulling,
Yeah.
heavy
No,
amount of
I mean,
games.
I understand that, but I think that would be a mistake. I think you should let the guy go down to the minors and get his experience in. You're rebuilding it. You're rebuilding this year, and is there why the rush? Do you think that he's going to be an impact player right away? I mean, I get it. You want to look at him, but isn't that what camp is for? Isn't that what the Travers is for? And the preseason games. I mean, you can let him stay through camp, and you can let him play the preseason games. But I wouldn't do that. I don't know how good he is, so I have to admit, I don't know if he's ready to play. But I mean, if he's ready to play in the NHL, then okay, then give him a shot. But that's the only way I would do that. I would say there's a 90% chance that he doesn't make the team. Maybe a 10% chance that he does.
So
You can't just have him up just for the sake of having him up. If you're gonna bring him up, you got to play him. You got to play him.
Well, the idea is
Gonna
to kind of think of it as an extended training camp for him. It's an idea like you can't. I don't think you can only see so much in preseason because you're playing against teams that are essentially doing the same thing. It's evaluation of talent. For Luchanko, who was taken 13th overall, who was taken higher than he should have because if he waited another year, he'd be a higher pick than that. This kid is starting to get some legit hype behind him. I would give him a chance to go see what he has against some of the elite talent in the NHL. You're not going to do anything that's going to hurt his development.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that I would rather have him playing 20, 25 minutes a game and playing in all situations. And with the Flyers, I mean, look, I've seen Tortorella coach, okay? And I remember when he coached the Rangers, okay? He's not a big proponent of playing young players. I know that the Flyers are rebuilding. I get that. But I don't see that he's going to get all that much playing time unless he is spectacular in camp. I think the best thing for him would be to go down, play, get his experience, and get some more seasoning down in juniors, and then get him ready for either a late call up, or wait till next year. I just don't think that starting the season is the best. I give him 9 games and look, but is that really smart in his overall development? I'd rather him play.
Well, again, he is going to play. Like if it's an extended evaluation, they're going to play him 15, 20 minutes a game. Probably not 20 minutes. Most of the forwards don't usually break 20 minutes, but he'll probably play 12 to 15 minutes.
I mean, is he what line is he going to be playing on? Is he going to be on the? I mean, look, I know
Second
they did
or
it
third?
with Couturier.
probably third.
It worked out with Couturier. Couturier was really good, but he was more of a checker.
Coots was also number 8th overall pick. So there was a little bit more expectation on him when they brought him into the league. Just like there's a heavy expectation on Mitchkov. So that's why it's just like you kind of expect him to be a no-brainer to be on the team immediately.
Yeah, but Mitchkov seems like he's already a world-class player. I mean,
right.
The kid right now, you have high hope for the kid in a couple of years that he's going to be an impact type player. Okay. But if you really want to get his feet wet in the NHL, he's going to have to earn it. Tortorella is not going to put him out there unless he's really, especially unless he's really, really responsible defensively. Cause you know how Tortorella is about defense. That's his first thing with any player, especially rookies. Okay, can they play in the defensive end of the ice? And if the guy is really, really responsible defensively, he'll have a shot. But I'm just telling you honestly, just knowing the coach and not really knowing the player that well, but knowing how the coach is, unless he's a superior defensive player the way Couturier was, I would think that he's going to be in the in junior to start the season. I don't see it.
I mean, this isn't the same John Tortorella from his Ranger days either. So he's not He's playing guys based off of do they earn the minutes?
But
we saw it last year.
He still had some young players in his Ranger days. Okay, he had Chris Kreider, he had Ryan Callahan. Who else?
I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying he doesn't have that same personality. He's in that rebuild mindset where he's going to play the guys who earn it. And if some guys need an extra look, he's going to give them the extra look. And if Luchanko earned it, like, why not give it to him? It's not not hurting anything.
If he earns it, that's great. I'd be really surprised though if he came out and he started on the team. That's all. I would be surprised.
I would love the idea because, like I said, if he has a great camp, give him 9 games. It's not going to burn a year off his contract. It's not going to do anything negative in that aspect. And he gets his feet wet in the NHL. And then once he's down in juniors, he knows what he has to work on. Because once he's down there, he can't come back up. So even if he plays spectacular down in juniors, he's there for the year. So if you have the opportunity to give him an extended evaluation and an extra look, and his hype is building up the way that it has been, you take the chance.
Hype is one thing.
I think you take it.
Hype is one thing, but action on the ice is another. I think you
got. Well, how do you prove it without being on the ice?
I understand that. I'd like to see how he looks in training camp, and I'd like to see how he looks in some of these games. If he's dominating the rookie camp, okay, and he's playing extremely well in preseason, then I would agree with you. But I would want to wait and see before I took that. And again, I think it's only like a 10% chance that that's going to happen. I mean, everybody seemed to think when he first got drafted that they were reaching to begin with. So that's why I'm thinking if they're reaching to begin with, he probably needs more time, to get to that level.
Well, they thought it was a reach because of his age and how young he was. That's the only reason they thought. If he had wound up being a year later, they're saying this kid would be a top 10 pick.
Okay, but
he's developing quicker than they thought he would.
Okay.
The hype behind this kid is building. This rookie camp this weekend is going to say a lot about where he is.
I agree. That's I would want to see first. When it comes to picks, usually you like to see him go into the minor leagues and ace the minor leagues first, whether it's junior or the AHL. You'd like to see him ace it first. Is he not old enough to play in the AHL? Is that the issue?
Well, he's 18, so I think
he
he's
hasn't
old
aged
enough.
out of juniors yet.
I think he can still play in the AHL at 18 anyway. It's just that it's.
Well, I know the Rangers had the same situation with Offman, where his birthday fell at a weird point, and he had to stay in juniors. He couldn't play in the AHL because he was too young. And I think he turned 18 at a certain point where he couldn't play in the AHL.
Oh, okay. But that was because he was under 18. Gotcha.
Right. When he was drafted, he was 17. I think he turned 18 like in January or February of the following year. So if the Rangers wanted him to play, then they couldn't send him down to the AHL.
Eric, I don't think he could play with the Reading Royals either because, well, he could if he wasn't already going to be in juniors. So because he's committed to being at juniors until he ages out, he wouldn't be playing with the Reading Royals. Plus also, if he's as good as you say he is, you really don't need him down in the ECHL. That really wouldn't be necessary.
He's too good for the ECHL.
Is barely a step ahead of juniors, really. Might as well play in juniors.
Right. So let's see here. From what most people are saying, most consensus are saying Luchanko will most likely be either a next year thing. I know Binkel was saying that. I think Eric was saying the same thing.
Eric was saying that he thinks AHL would be a good. I'm not fond of the AHL anymore. I see the AHL like AAA baseball. There's not a whole ton of competition there anymore. It's there for the guys who can't hack it in the NHL. So I'd rather see how he does in juniors If he decides he wants to go to college, I'd rather see him go to college than play in the AHL. It's either juniors or NHL for me.
So let's see here. I would say, would it be a bad thing necessarily? Like, say, okay, so let's just throw hypotheticals out here. Jett crushes it in camp, and he crushes it in preseason.
I would give him a chance then.
So you give him a chance.
If that happens, yeah, I give him a chance. But I mean, again, he's going to really have to show something because I don't want him up playing 10 minutes a night and being on a third or fourth line. Okay, I mean, this is a guy that's going to be on the. You want this guy to be on your first line.
So
eventually, so
to add to that, what if you kept him on a short leash, where you say, okay, let's give the kid a bit of a shot here. Let's throw him up, have him in a few games, and if the first sign of him having trouble during the regular season, that's it. You send him immediately back to juniors.
Is he going to play in the power play?
You can try him out.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're going to give him a chance and play him on the power play or let him try to penalty kill, then I'm for it. But if you're just going to send him up here to be on the third or fourth line and, barely get 10 minutes of ice time, I think that's pointless. I don't see how that's productive because you're not really giving him a chance to go out there and dominate,
No, but that's what I've been saying. If they're going to evaluate him, they're going to put him in every situation. Power play, penalty kill. They're going to give him any chance he can to be on the ice as much as possible so they can get a really good look and see what they need to do.
And that's why my hypothetical kind of takes both sides of this and throws it in together, where it's just like, okay, so taking it from Bryce's perspective, you put him in the situations. Take it from Brad's perspective, I'll keep him on a short leash. First time that you really see some problems, you see that, okay, he's definitely not ready for the big dance. It's like, all right, send the kid back to juniors. Let him have his time. We tried him out for a few games. He's not ready. He did great in the preseason, but the preseason, you're not facing everybody's starters. You're facing a lot of rookies sometimes. You're facing a lot of minor leaguers who might not be on the teams. So at the end of the day, all right, we gave him a few games, not the full 10, just gave him a few. And we're seeing a little bit of struggle, send him back to juniors. Let him get his time in there. Like that, to me, I think that would be the best of both worlds. You're meeting in the middle here a little bit. You give him all the opportunity in the world, but at the same time, once you see that struggle, all right, that's it. Back to juniors you go. We're done. You're not going to do the full 10. Doesn't mean we don't have faith in you. Just means you're just not ready for the big dance. Done and done.
So I'm all for that. The only difference is whether he struggles or not, and he's going to struggle. 18 years old in the NHL, he's going to struggle at some point. You give him the 9 games, regardless of how well he is or not, you send him down after that. You give him a taste. You get him motivated. Be like, hey, listen, you did really well. This is what you did well. List it. This is what we need you to work on. List it. Send him down to juniors. I honestly don't see him spending the full year up on the Flyers. I just don't. The roster spots aren't. There's not enough room for it.
Well, right now, we all agree on.
You have 9 games in the beginning of the season. You're gonna sit there and tell me you don't want to give this kid a chance for 9 games, an extra evaluation?
Out of 82, it's not a lot.
No,
it's a very limited amount of games.
No, it's under 10%.
Yeah.
Actually, it might be just over.
I don't know.
I'm not good at math. This is why I do
that. I'd be in favor if you play him on the power play, if you let him try penalty killing and doing stuff like that, then okay. But if you're going to just spot him on the ice, for a very short time and he's not getting any ice time, that to me would be pointless.
I got you.
It's like the Rangers with Matt Rempe. Are you going to give him 5 to 8 minutes of ice time, or are you going to actually play him?
It really depends on what they're using him for. In his case, are they using him to be a part of the team, or are they using him to be the enforcer on the team? That's really where you're.
Well, no, listen, Luchanko obviously has way more talent than Rempe. We know that. I'm just giving you an example of playing time.
I got you.
Okay. I don't want to see him getting Rempe playing time. I want to see him getting like Lafreniere playing time.
I got you.
When Lafreniere was a rookie, he was out there all the time. Okay. He struggled his first year, but he was out there, played the whole season, took his lumps, and he ended up getting, I think, 11 or 12 goals his first season. Okay. And the Rangers did that with Will Cooley last year, and he was a 3rd-round pick, and he made the team. Sometimes it does work. And they gave him a lot of ice time. If the Flyers are going to give the kid a lot of ice time and let him play, then I'm okay with that. But if you're gonna have him, like, let's put it this way: if he's not going to play in the 3rd period, okay, which I could see Tortorella doing in a tight game, he may not let him play in the 3rd period. He may want to let him watch. That I don't think would be the right thing to do.
Well, that probably would definitely be a waste of time. You want him to have all the opportunities to play out there.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I could see. Listen, I know what you guys are saying about Tortorella. He's changed and yada 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 yada. I also watched him for quite a few years with the Rangers. Okay, and a lot of times, I mean, he did it with Kreider. Kreider would play like 1 or 2 periods, and then he'd sit in the 3rd period and never see the ice. In his first and in his rookie season, I mean, he came up for the playoffs the 1 year. Then in his rookie season, he had 5 goals in his first 40 games because Tortorella wasn't giving him any ice time. Then they sent him down to the minors. And that's the one thing I wouldn't want to see, because then it becomes pointless. If you're going to put him out there, and play him, then play him. It's like it's like having a top prospect in baseball from the minor leagues. If you're going to bring him up, don't bring him up to sit on the bench. Don't bring him up to be a pinch hitter. Play him. Put him out there and let's see what he can do. That's all I'm saying. If he's successful, great. Keep him up. Let him play.
Well, let's see here. Jim is saying, big question is, how many centers will they go through before they find a good one for Michkov?
2. It's either going to be Frost or Coots. I don't really see anybody else playing with him. I mean, Frost has a skill set, but there's just so much more to Sean Couturier's game that could benefit Michkov moving forward. Leadership, passing ability, vision.
To be fair, I think there are people who are speculating Frost is supposed to have a breakout year anyway. Mm-hmm. So it may wind up being Frost just because if he's hot and he works well with Michkov, then it's like, all right, put them together. If they got the chemistry and it's working.
I'm not against either guy, but if I'm in Tortorella's position right now, I start him in the early season with Coots for his leadership ability, his knowledge, his ability to help him adapt to the North American game, and this is going to be an absolute. I think this is going to be a bounce back year for Sean Couturier. I think this is going to benefit both guys. And then if you want another skill guy playing with Michkov, you got Tippett on the other side.
So that would be
win-win.
Would that be your first line or would that be your second line?
No, that'd be the first line.
That'd be the first line.
That'd be the first line. Right now, there's no other 1C on this team than Sean.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, because that was what I was thinking there.
Yeah, I mean, even with Couturier's injuries last year and dealing with sports hernia all year, was he great? Not by any means.
Not by his standards.
Bad? No. Did he play to his standard? Like, because I'm totally stealing your phrase there, Matt. No, he wasn't up to his standards. Sports hernia is a bitch. Flyers had 2 guys on the roster last year with it. It does affect your play, and it sucks. Both guys got it fixed. I think this is going to be a bounce back year for both guys. And I do think Sean Couturier is going to help with the development and the maturation of Matvei Michkov. And I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. And I'm going to say it a little bit louder for the people in the back. Sean Couturier is going to be the difference of whether or not Matvei Michkov wins a Calder or not. And it's not from just playing on the line together.
It's
just him being healthy. Because there's so many different ways that he can help versus just playing on a line with him.
Because it's this point where, okay, Coots is the captain. It's his leadership time. Time for him to be the head in the locker room, the voice in the locker room, kind of be the guy that gets the troops ready and rallied when they go out there. So it's essentially it's the year where, okay, Coots, we made you captain last year. Here's your chance to really show us what you can do with that C. And with no injury. So there you go.
And you know what else it's time for?
Go ahead.
Hitting that like, hitting that subscribe, turn on those notifications. Don't miss anything A2D has to offer. We got all kinds of great content from our Facebook to our Twitter to our Instagram. YouTube, obviously, you get your live shows, podcast forums, wherever you get your podcasts, we're there. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn on those notifications. We got something for everybody. Back to hockey.
All right. And let's take a look here at our next comment. That was from Priz. If I can, figure out how this newfangled comment section works, I decided to hit the wrong button. All right, let's see here. Priz saying, I'd be surprised if he made the team unless they made a trade and moved Lawton or Paling to give him a spot every day. And then Priz also said, in my opinion, Luchanko is a low 2C or a high 3C. He could be one of the best 3Cs in the league.
Could be.
But it won't be this year.
I think he's proving that he could be much better than that. I haven't seen much. I'm very much looking forward to watching the rookie camps or the rookie games this weekend between the Flyers and the Rangers. I'm going to get a much better look at Luchanko, and I'm very much hoping that the hype that's starting to build around him, we start to see it, and he turns out to be more than just a 2C, maybe potential 1C, but
Eric,
I think realistically he's going to be a 2C.
Eric, I wouldn't put him on a line with Michkov. Only because that's a lot of uncertainty to put two young players like them who would be coming into the league for the first time. No.
Yeah, especially in your own end.
I will say this though, that could be beneficial, especially in the long term. But I think coming right into the league, it could be troublesome depending on who that third line player is. I'm not fully against it. I wouldn't recommend it, but I don't necessarily think it's a terrible thing.
It can be a bit of a crapshoot when you do that because you put a lot of inexperience out there on a line, and if they're getting the wrong matchup, that can just wreck them every time. It's going to be a long night for your team very quickly.
Yeah, it can. But again, it could be determined by who's that third line player. Or I'm sorry, who's that? I'm so tired. Who's that third player on the line? Who's playing with them? Who's going to be the vet on that line with them? That's the only thing that I would be like, if we're putting,
I think
say maybe Lawton on left wing, I could potentially.
I think you got to have Lawton out there to preserve some kind of defensive order.
What's up, Tommy?
Not just that, you need somebody out there that's a vet that can actually explain to them what's going on when they're off the ice, what they did wrong, what they should be doing. Somebody who understands the speed of the game, somebody who understands how the league works and some of the players' teams, so on and so forth. Like there's so many other aspects in just playing offense and defense. You have to just sometimes you just need a vet to get in your ear and be like, yo, this is what we're doing. You did this wrong. You were out of position, this, that, and the other. You need a guy on that line to be a leader. It can't just be a kid line. You're not going to have any success that way. You need somebody who's going to be able to have their backs and support them.
Not at the very beginning of the season, anyway. Not that early. Well, if you want to have a kid line, you wait till like the middle of the season to do something like that. That's when you do it. But you got these kids will have to play. That's the thing. So I see what Jeff says, Jeff Benkel, about
he's saying don't forget we have a bunch of.
No, he had something. He had something before that.
Well, with Luchanko saying he isn't making the roster at all.
He isn't making the roster at all. Maybe next year. I think there's a better chance that happens. than him playing. But again, we have to see how he plays this year. I think that they shouldn't play him this year. I think they should just send him back to juniors and let him play down there. I don't know how you expect him to be ready to do that.
I mean, we're talking really hypotheticals right now.
Right. I understand that, but I'm just saying again because a lot of people think that they reached to get him at 13. I mean, do you think he's going to be NHL ready? Do you really think he's going to be?
It's rare to see, like guys, even in the first round, when you get the guys in the teens, unless it's that deep of a draft, which is what they're talking about this year being, unless it's that deep, 9 times out of 10, you really don't necessarily see that. Sometimes, like, you get a Travis Konechny, who you get in the mid first round, spends a year, maturating, and then he's up with the team permanently right after that. A lot of times you see that happen in a lot of the first round picks that are out of the top 10, getting into the teens, getting into the 20s. If you're getting into the very late one, then it's almost like the best second rounder that you're getting at the very end of the first round. Sometimes that takes a little bit longer. But again, that also depends on your draft class, really. And that year he got picked, they weren't talking a whole lot about game changers, big players out of the top 3, I believe. So, again, Luchanko is a project. I think we can all agree to that he's not an immediate, like, okay, this kid's going to come in and do gangbusters. But if he does do very well, it's one of those, okay, do we give him the opportunity? We know that this kid is still got a lot of development ahead of him, but if he's doing real well right now, let's give him a go and let's see what happens.
It's low risk, high reward.
Yeah.
You're not risking anything at all, giving him a 9-game extra expansion on training camp to see what he does against the elite of the elite in the NHL. The high reward is he can handle himself. And you might have something better than you thought. Yeah, you probably send him back down to juniors and you let him season up a little bit, but you set an expectation. You prove everybody wrong, with including myself, saying that taking Jett at 13 was a reach. And that maybe he was slept on by a few teams.
Possibly.
It's a low risk, high reward situation for the Flyers if you let him play 9 games in the NHL.
To be fair, I think that the draft that just passed will probably wind up seeing, as that draft eventually gets its foot in the NHL, I think we'll start to see a lot of players that teams slept on. Because it happens with those kind of drafts. You realize, oh my God, why didn't we get this guy? It's like, to be fair, when you that draft class was never really considered all that much. So of course you missed him. No one was picking him at the time. So it happens. You look back at history, it happens all the time in drafts.
Mike, I don't see that happening, dude. 15 goals in 9 games. Whew.
If he gets 15,
NHL on rookie down there.
If he's got 15 goals in 9 games, then we got to have a debate of, do you keep him past the 10? Like, good Lord. Then you got to have that debate going.
Then you burning that first year. I'll tell you that, my friend. You are burning that first year.
With 2 Hatties. Oh, my God. You're just going to go straight Austin Matthews on this bitch. Oh, wow.
Mike, what you got going on down there, man? Send some up my way. What you doing?
Yeah. Is it 420 down there, bro?
Oh, man.
Your boy scored 76 goals with the Jets in his rookie year, didn't he?
He did.
So
that's true.
I mean,
he stole Eric Lindros.
It's a very different league now, though.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's a very different NHL now.
Yeah, you can't knock that performance though. That's unbelievable.
Hell no, nobody's touching that record. That record.
No rookie is going to do that.
This is the last thing I want to say, because I want to get to talking about Leon and the Oilers. If he does wind up for the entire year next year or this year, I'm just saying this: if he puts up 20 goals If he can put up 40 points, that's a hell of a rookie year for a guy who was taken as a
40 points
reach.
We would be saying, okay, who the hell's
40
Mitchkov? Let's talk about
40 points
Luchanko.
would be- 40 would be great.
If the Jets putting
did
up
that.
40 points, Mitchkov's putting up probably 70. Just put
Yeah,
it that way.
Yeah, and then Mitchkov absolutely wins a Calder then. It's like, wow, he didn't even need Coots to do it.
70 points. If he gets 70 points, you guys are going to be, you guys should be extremely happy with that. That would be fabulous if he did that.
Chris is saying, put McGillney in the motherfucking hall.
Should have been.
Well,
I don't understand how he's
one
not.
Hall of Fame that McGillney will never get into is the Flying Airplane Hall of Fame.
I don't get it.
We used to, as a joke, we used to call him Air McGillney because he was afraid of flying.
Oh.
So yeah, there was that. Yeah.
To be fair, I think McGillney was still. He came in and from the Soviet Union, so their airlines were not safe. They had a lot of crashes in their time.
He was afraid of flying. He was like, remember the A-Team when Mr. T had to be in a plane?
Yeah, and he was scared to death. Yeah.
Yeah, that was McGillney when he came into the league going on a plane. and all his detractors used to call him Air McGillney.
Ah, I see.
Yes, that was the big joke.
Gotcha. So, let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. As has been alluded to by Brian.
That's me.
Yeah, that guy over yonder.
Oops.
Anyway, a certain somebody re-signed with his team. And that certain somebody is the greatest German player of all time, Leon Draisaitl.
That's a short list, though, unfortunately.
It is, but hey, it has to start somewhere, and what better way to start with him? Draisaitl, at the end of the day, back on the Edmonton Oilers. I believe it was an 8-year contract?
8 year worth 8 years worth 14 mil.
14 mil. Wow.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that everybody's going to say, yeah, by the way, he took a pay cut to stay here. What?
Nope. We're gonna shut that shit right down.
They're gonna say it. They're gonna say it. I know they will.
Nope. We're shutting that shit down real quick. That is nope. Mm-mm.
That's what McDavid said. McDavid said he took a pay cut so Draisaitl could stick around.
When did he take a pay cut?
That's what he said when they had him around originally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, McDavid's making 12.5. That's a big pay cut. He was one of the top. He's one or two at the time that he signed that contract. He was either the highest paid or the second highest paid player in the NHL.
His next contract will be like 16. His next contract will be like 16.
Probably, but it's not going to be with Edmonton.
When is he free?
2 years.
2 years? Maybe not.
Edmonton's hands are already tied. They're in trouble.
Yeah, but they're going for it.
They got 2 years. They have to start breaking it down.
Yeah, they have to go for it right now. The next 2 years, they've got to go for it.
Yeah, because McDavid's leaving.
Yeah, they've got to go full Vegas now and do what they have to do to get the best players they can.
I mean, he has to. There's like this 14 mil is going to it's going to screw Edmonton in the salary cap. Yes, the salary cap might go up, and it probably will go up over the next couple of years. But
it's probably going to go up.
Edmonton's got to break it down.
It's probably going to go up. It's probably going to go up like $7 million over the next 2 years. That's been the figure I've been hearing.
He's probably,
but still, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's that is.
I mean, $30 million between two players in hockey. How do you build a roster doing that?
Well, that's the thing. You can't.
No.
I mean, still give the Oilers credit, though. They've had a hell of a lot more success at throwing a ton of money at players than Toronto has. So,
Well, yeah, they got to they've actually won some playoff series and got to the finals.
yes.
Got to
And,
game 7 and got to game 7 of the finals.
right.
So you
We're
know what?
1 away.
Yeah. So that's a little different than losing every single year to the Boston Bruins.
And then getting out of the first round one year just to get stomped in the second round by Florida.
Right.
All right. So in 2 years, this whole thing with Edmonton is going to be broken down. There's no way that it's not. And the reason why I say that is because you got McDavid making 12.5 for the next 2 years. You got Leon at 8.5. Then he jumps to 14. Zach Hyman, 5.5. Vander Kane, 5.1. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 5.1. And Nuge still has quite.
How much do you think they're going to have to pay Bouchard?
Well, and that's the other thing too. You got to pay Evan Bouchard.
Yeah,
and they don't have to worry about him until next year though, so they're fine there. You got Darnell Nurse making almost $10 million. Matthias Ekholm for 2 years making $6 million.
Darnell,
they need
Darnell Nurse.
By the way, that was their biggest mistake, giving Darnell Nurse that much money. They should have never done that.
He's going to be bought out probably. They'll have to buy
not anytime soon.
Well, in 2 years they might be able to.
Who? Darnell Nurse?
Yeah,
but that's still. I don't know if they'll buy him out. That's a lot of money to eat.
Well, they could they might be able to trade him because what will he have, like 2 years left after that? He has 4 years left, right?
He's got 4 years left.
Yeah, so in 2 years, if you get in 2 years, he'll have 2 years left. So I guess you could. I mean, you could buy him out, or you could trade him and take back 50%.
I mean, I try to avoid the buyout at all costs because that doubles the length of time that you have to pay the guy. Even if he'll be paying half. It's not beneficial in any way, shape, or form. You got to try and move him. If you buy him out in the final year of his deal.
I will say this, and Eric's saying Oilers will be in cap hell. Yes, essentially, that's what we're saying.
Yeah. I'm saying that now.
I would say I think Evan Bouchard is going to be the odd man out because if he plays well again, which most likely he will if he wants to get a nice contract, how are the Oilers going to pay him? I mean, there'll be other teams that would probably say, hey, we can offer you what you want. The Oilers can't because they just don't have the money. So he probably would book it to a town that can afford him.
Bouchard would be a devastating loss because he has really his last couple of years he's really become an excellent player.
Exactly.
This past season I think he was probably one of the top. He'd be in the top 10 my top 10 as far as defensemen in the league.
Speaking of Montreal, as well as Mimo might say, Montreal is going to be a dark horse team soon once their core players keep improving. Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, there's an example of a team that could give Bouchard what he wants and put him on a team that's up and coming.
Demidov is
he's French Canadian.
Right, there's that connection there.
Every French Canadian player is always rumored to be going to Montreal. You know that.
Oh well, I mean,
most French. That's been going on. That's been going on since the beginning. That's been going on since I started watching hockey. 50 years ago?
Yeah, but the only difference is that Montreal doesn't have tabs on every French Canadian player born.
Well, now there's an actual draft. Now there's an actual draft. So they weren't all free agents like when they were drafting back then.
Right, back then it's just like, well, if you're French Canadian, Montreal gets first dibs. No one else does. Right. Simple as that.
Oh yeah. The only reason they didn't get Ron Gilbert is because he had a herniated disc and they passed on him.
Well, they learned their lesson on that one, didn't they?
And then he came to the Rangers, and he was fine after that.
Eric's saying Oilers can take lessons from Tampa how to work the cap. Oh, so put somebody on the injured reserve.
Yes, Maddie, you stole my joke, you bastard. Vegas already took the notes on that. They already figured that out. They put Mark Stone on the LTIR every year.
Yes, he had an injury the year they won the cup, and then he magically came back in time.
Clean injury.
Yeah, here
just in time for the playoffs.
Edmonton doesn't have the tax advantage that Florida does. And that's an issue.
Always an issue.
But it's going to be tough because you got to break this down at some point. You can't keep this going forever. They don't have a team full of young players anymore. The youngest player right now is on offense. It's Vasily Podkolzin. And then on defense, I actually think it's Bouchard at 24 years old. Bouchard and Ty Emberson.
Again, another fuel to the fire of, if Bouchard has another great season, oh boy, Edmonton, you might be watching him walk.
And he's an RFA too. I mean, he's an RFA. So,
well, okay.
If
So
anything, you're probably going to see another team put another offer sheet on Bouchard.
Yeah, he would be very susceptible to an offer sheet.
And think about it. What the hell is Edmonton going to be able to do about it? Not a damn thing with the cap situation. They would have to buy. They would probably have to buy out Darnell Nurse just to keep Evan Bouchard, just for that reasoning alone. And if that's the only reason that they could possibly pull that off, it's like, damn, guys, you really put yourself up shit's creek without.
Or they would have to give a team a first-round pick just to take them.
Pretty much. Yeah. It would maybe more than just the first to swallow the contract alone.
Remember, the Rangers had to give up a second-round pick for Detroit to take Mark Stahl.
It depends on the on the tier that he falls into and what the collateral winds up being for the claim on the RFA. Depends on the year he has. I mean,
yeah, it does.
Philip Broberg, they only had to give up a second. Dylan Holloway, they had to give up a third.
Absolutely.
So it all depends on where they fall. Bouchard, he could be worth first and more.
Yeah, he might be. I mean, if he continues to score at the rate he is, and he's a good defensive player, I mean, as I said, I have him right now as one of the top 10. So
Me Metal Mike saying Ottawa should get better, right? Wasn't their rebuild supposed to yield a playoff run, right? What happened?
They're still.
Who's their goalie?
Yeah,
they're still.
That's been their biggest.
They're still rebuilding.
Yeah. We thought Toronto had issues in goal.
I mean,
Korpisalo wasn't terrible for Ottawa.
Unfortunately, his
best
days are still in
Columbus. A lot better than him, though. They're gonna have to do better than him to.
I mean, it just seems like Ottawa keeps grabbing these guys, and it's like, you do realize they kind of peaked already. They went and grabbed Matt Murray. It's like he peaked. He peaked He peaked in Pittsburgh. Like
he peaked at 19.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jeez,
so
he peaked when I did. I've been on a downward spiral ever since. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I mean, Ottawa's not bad. I don't think they're
not players on their
towards the end of it, but
I think that they really need to improve their goaltending like a lot.
They did. They went out and got Linus Ullmark.
Oh, they got Ullmark. That's right. I forgot about him.
Mm-hmm. Then the loss of Alex Fermenton hurts. That hurts because he was going to be a very, very good player for them until he decided to flee the country.
Yeah.
And now he's retired completely from the NHL, and now he's working construction. So,
do you think Ullmark is going to be that good in Ottawa?
I think he'll be fine. I think he's going to get into the playoffs, but I don't think he's going to be carrying a team like he did in Boston.
No. I just wonder. Boston is a real good defensive team. Ottawa is not a great defensive team. I just wonder.
What the hell happened in the game tonight? The bench is cleared? When the hell did that happen?
Apparently you were talking about hockey while that happened.
No, I really was, because this is when we were on the air. This is in the bottom of the eighth.
Bench is clear. What game?
Phillies and the Rays.
I think the Rays are always starting trouble. They really are kind of a goon team. They're always doing stuff. They probably started pitching somebody inside again.
They hit Castellanos and Harper started mouthing off. Castellanos started.
Castellanos is kind of known to have a little bit of a temper.
There's got to be more to it.
So, let's see. Me, Metal Mike's also saying, what's also going wrong in Buffalo?
Everything. Every year. They're the Giants of the NHL.
I feel like Buffalo's trying to turn the corner. It's just that everything that can go wrong for them goes wrong for them, sadly.
Well, last year
The
Thompson got hurt.
efforts, yes, that definitely killed it.
That killed him.
Yeah. They're trying. You can tell they're trying. The passion's there. The fire's there for them to succeed. It's just every time they start getting something going, something just clips them and they can't get themselves back up.
Coaching.
That definitely has been an issue for them too.
Coaching. And then they go out and they do stupid shit like trading Matt Savoie to Edmonton for nothing.
Right. And Matt Savoie had a great time over in Edmonton. So it's like Buffalo, what's going on, guys? Like, I thought you guys were trying to, change and get better here. It's like, and the shame of it is you see the players on that team. They're trying. God, they want to succeed.
There's talent.
There is. It's like you see that fire in them. It's just like, man, just everything that could go wrong goes wrong.
And you see all the millions of first-round picks on that team, and it just never seems to.
I mean, they've had issues with goaltending too. They haven't been able to really find the right guy. And then UPL, who I like as a goaltender, is getting overpaid, and it's going to block Devin Levi.
And then he got hurt. He keeps getting hurt.
He keeps getting blocked. He's stuck in the AHL because he's got nowhere to go.
Well, he plays well and then he gets injured, and then somebody else plays great and then he has no path to get back up again. That's been the problem with him. He keeps injuring himself. That's why he gets stuck in the AHL.
On the other side of that,
I don't think that's 100% true.
Me Metal Mike saying year 3 in Seattle. Do we see them jump up in the Pacific? That all depends on a couple of factors. One, Vancouver, because Vancouver made things a lot harder in the Pacific now that they decided to get their shit together. On top of that as well, if Anaheim starts doing real better, that just made Seattle
better.
That's proper English right there, folks.
Good thing you teach history.
Yeah, right. That's the American bastardization of English, not the Queen's English. But I'm sorry, the King's English now. But anyway, so
oh my God.
I would say if Anaheim starts like picking the pace up and playing very well, that might actually cause more frustrations for Seattle. That's only going to make their attempts at trying to get into the playoffs that much harder.
I'd be more worried about San Jose than Anaheim, if I'm going to be completely honest.
And if San Jose has themselves a shocking season where they come out swinging and they get some good wins and some hard-fought wins, Seattle's not going to have an easy time. Again, Seattle's an expansion team. It's the problem. It's being an expansion team. You have those growing pains in your first times. I mean, every now and again you get a surprise. Like Seattle had their San Jose Sharks moment. They got into the playoffs and they eliminated the defending Stanley Cup champions. So there you go. There's their San Jose moment. And they almost eliminated Dallas. They shook them so bad that Dallas didn't even get out of the blocks in the Western Conference Finals. So there you go. Anyway, let's see. Meemail Mike saying, in the Calgary camp, Flames are thinking of going full rebuild mode. That doesn't surprise me.
Well, they're trying to trade Huberdeau, and they're trying to trade what's his name, the other center that they signed, Kadri.
That doesn't surprise me.
I've heard nothing about that.
I've been reading about that on the Rangers lines that those two guys that they've been trying to get rid of. I don't know why the Rangers are getting involved. They don't have money for those two guys, so.
They also have full no movement clauses in their contract, so unless they're saying we want to move, they can't move them.
Who knows? Maybe they've talked to them, possibly.
Kadri's playing real well. Huberdeau's came around in the second half of the season with the coaching change. I don't see that happening.
Well, from what I've heard, I know that they would like to try to trade them. So that's what I've been reading in the hockey rumors. So
She's saying from a family member that lives in Alberta, they're saying the Flames might tank this year. Well, if the Flames play poorly anyway, they don't have to tank. They'll just be bad anyway. So there's nothing to worry about there.
Who's going to be their goalie this year?
Dustin Wolf.
Okay. That's not terrible. He could do worse than him.
No, he's going to be a franchise goalie. Of course, you could do worse than him.
Huh?
You can go Dan Vladar. Dan Vladar's worse. He's going to be their backup. Dustin Wolf is a stud.
They have Vladar. I thought Vladar was out of the league.
No, Vladar's been a backup.
He's still there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I saw him,
I didn't know he was still.
Last time I saw him, he was playing for the Bruins.
On that team. I thought he was in the minors.
Pretty sure he's still in Calgary.
Let's see. Don saying, questions for you guys. Who are y'all's early Stanley Cup favorite? I know it's super early.
Yeah,
Well,
still in Calgary.
Florida.
What was that? I didn't understand a single bit of that.
Probably
he's still in Calgary. He's still sitting as a backup.
Okay. Favorites for a Stanley Cup Finals run? Oof. I guess. I mean, I kind of feel like I'll throw out Dallas because I just feel like it's like, okay, come on, you got to get there at some point. The team's too good for them not to. So I would say Dallas, and then on the other hand,
think Vegas can bounce back?
Not impossible for them. Definitely not.
No, they lost a bit. I don't think they're going to bounce back. The loss of Marchessault is going to hurt. I think Nashville's going to make a push.
Nashville's definitely going to be trouble.
They're a dark horse.
Definitely a dark horse.
I mean, they made 3 huge signings in the offseason, so I mean that's got to push them up there. When you sign Stamkos, Marchessault, Brady Shea, like that's.
You know what? I'm just gonna throw it out there for the hell of it. The Florida dynasty in the East continues. Panthers back in the Stanley Cup Finals. There we go. Dallas and Florida, all of Canada, and the rest of the hockey world can burn.
I like Vancouver, Mike. I definitely like Vancouver. In the East is tough.
It is tough. I think the Devils are going to be a big-time improved team. The Rangers are obviously still really good.
Well, the Devils stay healthy. Yeah, they're always a threat then.
Well, now they got goaltending.
Well, that too. They did get
it. Last year, their goaltending was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to worry about the Bruins. You have to worry about the Rangers. You have to worry about the Devils. You have to worry about
Carolina's probably going to be okay.
There's one team I'm blanking on. Toronto. You still always got to worry about Toronto.
Do we though?
No.
Mm-hmm. Once they get to the playoffs, it's a whole nother story, but they're a dangerous team.
During the season, they're scary.
Yeah, they are. They just can't.
That's what I'm saying. And then obviously you for the next couple of years, you still have to worry about Edmonton. You know, I mean, I don't buy into their goaltending. I still don't buy into their defense, but offensively, they're the best team in hockey.
Are we talking Toronto or Edmonton on that? Because I feel like you could. Okay, because you could say that for both.
Fair enough. The Avs are still a very good team.
So let's see.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, I was thinking the Avs. And they could
Avs are starting to fall off a little bit, though.
They are, but there's still that intangible talent there that could
stay healthy.
pop up.
That's gonna be something they got to do.
Let's see. SJM86 saying, "What up, hockey fam? I agree to the poll. Luchanko has a legit 200-foot game, defensively responsible, great motor, hustle, and elite skating ability.
Yes.
Couldn't hurt to see him early with the proper care." He also goes on to say,
Let him know.
So many more pros to Luchanko. High hockey IQ, pushes pace, and could learn to fly while still contributing immediately.
I didn't realize you dressed Superman.
And then he also goes on. He does say this, though. I know his size is 5'11" and 183 pounds. Isn't ideal, but he can add some bulk. He's been compared to Montreal star Nick Suzuki and has similar to ability that guys like Lawton have.
I mean, the guys in the NHL aren't massive anymore. Look at Cole Caulfield. He's not much bigger. Johnny Gaudreau wasn't much bigger. Speed, elusiveness, agility. That's what's going to make him effective in the NHL. It's not necessarily always size.
Very strong tree trunk type legs.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Mike also saying Vancouver has a shot. Could shock everyone and win
they
it.
do. Vancouver is going to be very tough.
They could.
And then he also goes on to say, fuck it, Toronto in the cup because madness. Watch them go all.
Mike, I swear to God, you and Mike love chaos, and I don't know why.
Because why not?
I'm too old for chaos.
Why not?
It tires me out.
Oh, come on. During the playoffs, that's when you need it the most. Because,
I agree,
my
but
God.
I'm too tired. I'm getting too old for that shit.
This past year, while there was still great games played and there was excitement, this year was kind of predictable, don't you think?
No.
Just a little bit?
Nope.
To me, it was. There were several series that was just like, yeah, I'm not surprised that team won. Not surprised that team won. I'm kind of like, man, where's the upset? I want to point and laugh at somebody, and I can't right now.
You don't think Edmonton was unexpected in the Stanley Cup final? I expected them to be out by the second round.
I mean, not really, because of the fact that McDavid and the talent that they throw out there. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I know their goaltending was always suspect to begin with. But at the same time, it's like they had already made teases of getting to the third round. It's like, you know what? It was only a matter of time. I really wasn't as surprised.
You want chaos? That's chaos right there. Let them know, D. And you know what?
Kings.
I'm going to take it a step further. Wings and Ducks.
Wings and
Ducks. 2024 Stanley Cup final. Why not? We're talking chaos. That's chaos. I'm too tired for this tonight.
I'm kidding. Or am I?
And then finally, let's see, Mimo said Toronto sweeps everyone and gets swept by Vancouver. Yes, there you go. That's what's going to happen.
That's
Vancouver sweeps Toronto. That is exactly how it goes with Toronto. There we go.
I love it.
All right. So with that takes care of this edition of Flyers Talk A2D. Oh, yeah, and to answer that question, I already knew who I wanted in goal. If we can do this for anybody at all, it'd be Patrick Waugh in his prime. But anyway,
what was the question? I missed it.
Who would you put if you were building a Stanley Cup winner around Mitchkov, TK, Johnny Hockey as your line? What would the other lines be and who'd be in net? I already knew who was going to be in net.
Dryden.
Give me Marty Brodeur.
All right. So there we go.
The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever goddamn will be. Martin Brodeur.
Yeah, the only difference is he ain't bitter about his career like Bret Hart is. Anyway, so.
By the way, real quick before we jump off, tip of the cap to the WWE for the classy move of being in Calgary last night and paying homage to Johnny Gaudreau. The final thing I'm going to say about this whole thing is now that everything is all said and done, everybody got to pay their respects and say their goodbyes to Maddie and Johnny. I hope this family gets some peace. I hope that the Gaudreau family can find a way to heal in this horrible time. And let's just give the family some privacy so they can take care of what they need to take care of and let Meredith take care of her family and let Matt's wife take care of her family and let them take care of each other. This is a terrible time. It's a hard time. Let's let the family heal. And I'm praying that God gives them the strength to do that.
Yeah. Let's start the healing process. So we thank everybody for joining us for this edition of Flyers Talk A2D. Thank you to everyone who chimed in. Once again, you guys are the lifeblood of A2D. So keep on throwing out the comments. Hockey season is right around the corner, folks. It is almost here. Camps are starting to get up and running. It is going to be a wild ride, as it always is, for the Flyers and for everybody else in the full 82. So strap yourselves in, folks, because we don't know what the hell we're in for.
I don't know what the hell that was.
But anyway, we are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy any aches and pains, hit up the doc at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Until next week, stay safe, stay healthy, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon for everything A2D. From all of us here, peace and love.
Be good to each other. Be safe.